The thing women want most from a man is something almost no man ever gives them. Not flowers, not compliments, not confidence. Something so simple it sounds too easy, and so rare it feels almost revolutionary. There are 6 specific behaviors that fall into this category. Things that cost nothing, require no special circumstances, and create a depth of attraction that expensive dinners and practiced lines never produce. One of them involves what you do in the first 30 seconds of seeing her. Another involves something you do when she's talking that most men completely stop doing after the first few weeks. We're covering all 6. But the last one, the climax, is the one that genuinely changes relationships. Stay with me. Here's the honest premise of this video. Most men are working incredibly hard at the wrong things. They're optimizing appearance, refining their texting strategy, trying to be more mysterious or more available or more interesting, while completely neglecting the 6 behaviors that women consistently identify as the most attractive things a man can do. None of these require money. None require a particular body type. All of them require something rarer than either: genuine presence and the willingness to show up differently than the other 99%. Let's get into it. Bold claim. Undivided attention has become so rare that giving it genuinely is now one of the most powerful acts of attraction available. Here's the psychology. We live in the most distracted era in human history. The average person checks their phone 96 times per day. In social settings, most people are physically present but mentally somewhere else entirely, processing the last notification, composing the next thought, half engaged with whoever is in front of them. When a man puts his phone face down, makes genuine eye contact, and is actually there, not performing presence but genuinely inhabiting the moment, women feel it immediately, not as a technique, as an experience. Mini story. Marcus went on a 3rd date with a woman named Jade. They sat down. He put his phone in his jacket pocket, not on the table, not face down on the table, in his pocket, and he looked at her, not intensely, warmly, like she was the most interesting thing in the room. Jade told her sister afterward, "He made me feel like nothing else existed. I can't explain it. I just know I want to see him again." Marcus hadn't said anything remarkable. He had simply arrived, completely. What most men do wrong: they keep the phone visible, they split their attention, they are present in body and absent in mind, and she feels that absence even when she can't name it. What actually works? Full arrival, every time. Make her feel like the conversation is the only conversation happening in the world right now. Bold claim. Remembering what she told you is more intimate than almost any physical gesture available. Memory is emotional. We store what matters and release what doesn't. When you bring up something she mentioned days ago, casually, without making a production of it, you prove something that no compliment can prove. I was actually listening. You registered. Scenario. She mentioned in passing that she had a stressful meeting coming up on Thursday. Most men forget this within hours. The 1% man sends a simple message Thursday afternoon. How did the meeting go? That's it. That's the whole move. And she sits with her phone thinking, he remembered. He actually thought about me when I wasn't there. That thought, you existed in his mind when you weren't present, is one of the deepest sources of felt attraction available in early connection. Here's where 99% of men consistently get it wrong, and it costs them more than they realize. When she shares a problem, the male brain immediately activates solution mode. Find the fix, resolve the issue, move forward. This feels helpful from the inside. From her side of the conversation, it feels like her emotional experience was an obstacle to be cleared rather than something worth staying with. The psychology. Women process difficulty through connection. The act of being heard, genuinely, completely, without immediate redirection, is itself the healing. The solution is secondary. The validation is primary. Mini story. Derek had been dating a woman named Sophia for 2 months. One evening, she came home frustrated about a conflict with a close friend. Derek, genuinely trying to help, immediately offered 3 solutions. Sophia went quiet. The evening ended earlier than usual. What Sophia needed in that moment was not solutions. She needed someone to say, "That sounds really hard. Tell me more," and mean it. The next time it happened, Derek caught himself. He closed his laptop. He looked at her. He said, "I'm sorry, that sounds exhausting. What happened?" Sophia talked for 40 minutes. At the end, she said, "I feel so much better." Derek hadn't solved a single thing. He had simply received her. And that reception was everything. Bold claim. Complimenting her appearance tells her you have eyes. Complimenting her character tells her you have attention. Every man compliments how she looks. It registers and fades. What doesn't fade, what gets stored in emotional memory and returned to, is specific acknowledgement of who she is, the way she handled something difficult, the particular quality of her humor, something specific she does that nobody else seems to notice. The way you talked to that person earlier, you made them feel completely comfortable. I don't think you realize how rare that is. That sentence requires observation. It proves that you are watching closely, and being watched closely by someone whose attention matters is one of the most intimate experiences available in early connection. But here's the part no one tells you. The specificity is everything. A generic character compliment, "You're so kind," lands soft. A specific, observed, clearly earned acknowledgement lands like nothing else she's heard that week. Here's a pattern that separates the 1% from everyone else in a way that women notice immediately. Most men ask, "What do you want to do?" and think this is considerate. It isn't. It transfers the emotional labor of planning onto her while appearing flexible. The man who says, "I thought you'd enjoy this, I made a reservation," is communicating something far more attractive than flexibility. He is communicating that he thought about her before she arrived, that her enjoyment was something he considered and planned for. That pre-arrival thinking, the evidence that she occupied his mind enough to plan around, is felt as genuine care. And genuine care, expressed through action rather than words, is what most men talk about and few actually demonstrate. This is the truth reveal, the deepest insight in this entire video. Everything we've covered, the presence, the memory, the validation, the specific compliments, the thoughtful planning, they all point toward one thing. They make her feel safe, not physically safe, emotionally safe. The experience of being around someone where you don't have to manage yourself, where your real thoughts are welcome, where your unguarded moments are received without judgment, where you can be fully, messily, genuinely yourself. And that version is not just tolerated, but genuinely valued. That experience is extraordinarily rare. Most people move through their entire lives without consistently feeling it from another person. The man who creates it, not through technique, but through genuine character, becomes something that is almost impossible to walk away from, because she has felt safe with very few people in her life. And the ones who created that safety, she never fully stops thinking about them. Here's the uncomfortable question I want to leave you with. Of these 6 things, genuine presence, remembering what she says, validating before fixing, specific observation, thoughtful initiative, and emotional safety, how many are you actually practicing, not thinking about, not planning to do, actually doing consistently with the person in your life right now? Because she's noticing. She's always noticing. Which one of these 6 hit closest to home for you? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and if something in this video landed, subscribe. Every week, we go exactly this deep into the psychology of what actually creates lasting attraction. See you in the next one.